more of a height thing, more than a shooting guard thing.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Which Kobe Bryant actually was. I look at everybody and I compare them to Wilt Chamberlain and also Julius Erving because I'm here. Mm-hmm. I've interviewed John Chaney, Sonny Hill, two great friends of Wilt Chamberlain, who basically told me the quote that Oscar used, the record book does not lie, So, there's so much encapsulated in that. So when I see this baby bull come along in LeBron James and him doing the things that he did, I think it was 28-8 in his first game in the NBA. I have to appreciate what he has done and who he is. The one thing that I will say about LeBron, and I've said it to his face in different interviews, where he has actually closed down the locker room so me and my brethren could speak to him exclusively about something the mainstream did not want to talk to him about. The first interview that I did with him in the locker room was about who was the greatest athlete of all time. At the time, Terrell Pryor was the Ohio State's quarterback. He was basically that all-around athlete who became a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Okay? I was comparing LeBron to him and asking LeBron about him being a quarterback. And he told me that, he was a third-string quarterback. He would come in and throw flea flickers. He could throw the ball 60 yards in the air. But he told me that he would rather be the player making the play down the field because he was tight end in high school. Yeah. I'm of the opinion that if power forwards, small forwards and power forwards become quarterbacks, the takeover will be complete. Okay. They would just be physically unable to be stopped. So LeBron doing what he's done and also what he has done for me. Kobe Bryant has done the same thing for me, with my fellow writers here. Anthony Gilbert is the most prominent one, who's probably my best friend in the game. Anthony was the first to bring the camera inside of the NBA locker room. Now, we know now what that has become with the advent of social media, but he would bring this little $100 video camera in the locker room. And it just changed everything because we were able to get stuff documented that people they thought we were radical. They thought that word radical is being thrown around now. But, so LeBron has been that guy for me. And then when I started to see his evolution, I was really upset with LeBron after the Giselle Bundchen cover, because I thought that was something that was immense, that it was a big mistake. And I remember bringing in like 30 questions I was going to ask him. And I ran it by David Aldridge, and he was like, Mike, don't do it. He was like, Mike, don't do it. Please don't do it. The way things are in hindsight, that's one of my regrets, that I did not challenge LeBron at the time. But maybe in terms of his maturation, he was not ready for that big of a conscious moment. That guy. Which version? Which LeBron version are we looking at here? Are we looking at first Cavs run, mid run? We're looking at the first Cavs run. I'm thinking after San Antonio. Okay, so 08. Yeah, around 08, around that time. After his first baptism of his career. Right. Yep. He's the only athlete that I have ever known that will finish my questions. I can walk into a presser 5 minutes late and know that no one would ask my question. LeBron knows what I'm going to say because consciously he is aware of the moment and the spirit that we need to talk about who we consciously are as Black people. That's a great thing. And that was a conversation, like I know that all great conversations, many of them take root in the barbershop and they grow up from there. And people like myself and you who are asking questions for a living, who are thinking about things like that can draw inspiration from that. So in the spirit of that, a conversation I was having in the barbershop was,
we're getting towards the end of an era, if you will, in the NBA soon. Although he's coming off of a title and he's had, the run that he's had, all things must pass at the end of the day. And LeBron's time is going to end sooner than I think people realize. What's next? I mean, you talk about the long run that we've had in the NBA with these different stars and different people driving it. And one thing that's always true is that somebody will step up and grab the torch. But I'm very curious about what you think that new era of leadership is going to look like in the post-LeBron era, because he's changed the expectations and some of the ways that we know what our superstars are going to be focused on.
How I'm going to answer that question is to give you this. Why aren't there Kobe Bryant clones? Why aren't there Larry Bird clones? We hear Michael Jordan. Why aren't there Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Wilt Chamberlain clones?
I would say because it's impossible.
Yes, it's impossible, right? But I'm saying you would think that following Kobe's lead that many people will try to emulate. Like I take over to baseball. I taught my kids Barry Bonds' timing mechanism at the plate. Okay? That step forward, that step back, then the crank. Okay? My kids were hitting so many home runs that the parents were getting mad at me. They thought it was pretentious. They thought I was trying to do something to show up the rest of the league. I was just trying to get these kids ready for the next level.
Right.
Okay. So when to say all that, I don't know if that player exists right now who will follow what LeBron James has done both on and off the field. There seems to be a preoccupation with clout chasing.
It seems to be something that's running pole position as opposed to the real substance of it.
Right. I've watched in Cleveland, Akron, LeBron James buy so many bikes for a bunch of kids and him lead those bikes back to his front doorstep. It was the greatest thing, one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It gives me chills just thinking about it. You brought up Kobe Bryant's name. I'm still not ready to – I'm not resigned that he's gone.
Yeah.
Okay? It still hits my heart when his name is said because we became so close from player to reporter, when he was playing in the NBA. Mm-hmm. But, I don't think that player exists. I don't see Kevin Durant being that guy. I don't see Kawhi Leonard being that guy. It remains to be seen if Zion Williamson is that guy. I think LeBron James, what he did is he occupied a niche, and since he has done so well, maybe people think that there doesn't need to be another guy who fills that niche, that conscious and basketball player. When I get into arguments or debates with people who, with this Kobe, Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain thing, I say to them this: LeBron James became a global icon. He does not face his just peers. He's facing history every time he gets on the court. Now, Kobe did tell me prior to the Beijing Olympics, when asking him about, how would this moment augment what already is a great player? He told me that I live in the moment. I don't reflect. I don't do anything else. I live in the moment. Mm. I both appreciate that, and especially in hindsight of Kobe's death, I understand what he is saying there, and maybe I don't know. I don't want to say anything, out of hand, but him saying so just gave me a new appreciation for him, given that, he's passed. LeBron James, when I talk to him, he has this fire about him, that is just under the surface. He's very frustrated by how and why people talk about him the way they do, given that, he is a gifted father, man, and teammate. It's very difficult for me to say any word offhand about LeBron James because he is the definition of a soul model.
Yeah.
And, him doing what he has done, and me having the honor of being able to talk to him at the various stages of his career, I haven't spoken to him, on a record in a few years. But, I'm a big admirer of his because he does the family thing right, and he's putting his sons in position to be, and also his daughter, to be highly successful, given that he's a excellent father and and husband. And to be able to see what Bronny eventually is going to do, and maybe he becomes his father, maybe he doesn't, maybe he's a perch under his father. That remains to be seen. But I'm very interested to see in that next guy. I see, like I brought up Kawhi and Kevin Durant, and it's not that I see them as lesser people, but I don't see them to have the full throttle that LeBron James has. That's even including Steph Curry. They're all very gifted basketball players, but you can pigeonhole them into that box.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you can't do with LeBron. His business dealings are broad or immense.
He's a great example of a perfect storm working, and it's all work. It all emanates from him, of having a lot of people look at you, but still being able to make moves behind yourself while the camera is on you. One guy that really fascinates me right now, and it actually came from a special, a program I watched that he was on, where he went back home, and I learned a lot about kind of what drives him, is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that it was me and you that were kind of having an exchange about that. When after he won the MVP, a lot of people were nobody's going to be completely happy with how MVP worked out this year, which is a good thing. That's parity. I enjoy parity.